From the Crush Studio in sunny Florida, this is the Disney Crush Podcast. And now your two tempests in a teacup, Dave and Tony Ann.
On this week's The Disney Crush Podcast, the return of 5 on 5. We have 5 listeners answering 5 tough Disney questions. We have 5 new faces this time around. We are so excited about having these new guests on our show. Sit back and enjoy this episode of the Disney Crush Podcast.
It's been a long time since we've done a 5 on 5.
Yeah, it has been. It really has been.
So I'm kind of excited to have all these guys on.
I really am. It's
girls.
It's fun, and we've got new people that haven't been on the show before. First guest that came on is Selena. Selena, I think you have actually been on the show before. You've been on talking about events we were doing.
Yeah, I think that's true. That I got on some live streams.
Right, you've been on planning committees for various events for G3, TDC, and stuff like that. But this is your first 5 on 5, right?
It absolutely is. So we'll take that.
That's awesome. So we're going to get to learn a little bit more about you, because usually you're just talking about events and games. So this is fun because this gives us an opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. And I'm excited about that. Selena, you're from South Florida, right?
Yep, Fort Lauderdale.
So you're fairly local and you get to go often, Florida resident. So it's a different perspective for those of us that live in Florida. So it'll be interesting to see how your answers differ from other people's.
Yep, looking forward to it.
All right, let's bring...
And she's like the OG of planning some of these meetups too.
Oh yeah. She's integral in our group.
Way back.
To 2019. All right. Let me bring on our next guest. And the next person to join was Jeremy. Jeremy, you're from Louisiana, right?
Yes, ma'am. Central Louisiana.
And it's really funny, Dave. I don't know if you know this, but Jeremy's wife, Bridget, she used to live in Spring Hill, Florida.
Yeah, you told me that. It's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah.
She reached out to me a few years ago, I think, and she said, "You live in Spring Hill?" I was like, "Yeah.
Yeah.
I have family in Spring Hill."
She got the heck out of here. She went to Central Louisiana. That's beautiful. That's
Jeremy must have whisked her off her feet.
They have some good mud dogs there. Oh.
Also from the Gulf Coast, we have Mr. Michael Rhodes.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're good. Michael, you are usually the quiet half of your marriage. So a lot of people don't know you very well. Everybody knows Amy Rhodes, but you're the beautiful face without a name. You're just the wind beneath her wings, aren't you?
Absolutely. I let her run the show. It is all right by me.
Well,
I don't know. I'm gonna have to debate that, because I had breakfast with Michael, and we had a lot of conversation at that breakfast. We finally got to talk a little bit. I thought he didn't like me because he just was always quiet, never talked. I just say, "Hey, Michael." He just look up and kind of nod. But yeah, we finally got to talk during breakfast, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's exciting.
And he's from L.A.
Right.
Yeah, Lower Alabama.
That's right. Dave used to live there, so you should have a lot to talk about. All right, we're gonna say hello to our next guest from the great state of Pennsylvania, Samantha Carpin.
Hello.
Hi. I'm going to be honest with you, Samantha. For a long time, we used to call you the other Samantha. Did you know that?
Yes, I've heard Kurt Stone calling me that.
The other Samantha. But you are a Disney file in your own right, and we're going to learn more about you tonight. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
Okay. And last but not least, from Colorado, the person who is responsible for Tori Hunt being in our group. That's her claim to fame.
That is my claim to fame.
Christina Marriott from Colorado. Christina, but we're happy to have you too. Don't feel like you're the original Colorado crusher. Right?
And don't you all forget it. Thanks. That means a lot to me. It's the only thing I've got.
You're the original Colorado crusher.
Thank you.
I think we lost Dave again.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, okay. You have nothing to say about.
No, I just
Are
want.
you
I
mad
want.
at her for bringing Tori into the group?
No, I'm absolutely ecstatic about that. I'm a little. I mean, she does make people get up at 4:00 in the morning to watch her run, but other than that, she's okay.
Christina, who doesn't normally run, had to get up at 4 a.m. and run.
I don't mind running. I am very much opposed to early mornings of 4 a.m.
Yes.
That's what I'm opposed to, is 4 a.m.
Okay.
True.
All right. Okay. So let's get down, because we've got a lot of questions and we've got 5 people. So let's get started with our first question. Dave, you got the questions in front of you?
I do. Selena, we need to hear your Disney story. How did it begin? How did it start? When did you start going? All that good stuff.
So it began before I can even remember. So I am a native Floridian. I know we're rare, but I was going to Disney my whole life, basically. So from childhood in strollers up through now. So basically, it's just kind of my go-to place whenever I have a weekend free or something that's somebody's coming in to visit. That's what we do. We say, oh, well, we might as well go to Disney.
Wow, that's unusual to find an original Floridian. That's very rare.
Born here.
Yeah.
Do you happen? I mean, I know probably when you're a kid, do you remember what your first annual pass cost?
No idea.
Okay.
No. So
I know mine.
When I was a kid, we didn't have annual passes,
Okay.
so we would come, but no recollection.
Because when I moved here, my first annual pass, I think, was $99 for the whole year. I think.
Yeah,
but
that sounds like it could be true.
And I haven't been here as long as you have. So, Dave, who do you want to go to next?
Samantha, tell us your story.
So I've told this story to a couple of people. I don't know if any of y'all have heard it. My Disney story started in the womb. I blame my mom for my obsession because her and my dad were on a Florida trip, and she was pregnant with me. She didn't know she was pregnant, though she did have she had an inkling because she had brought this green apple shampoo with her, and it made her vomit every time she smelled it. So she was just like, "Oh, hey, might be pregnant." My dad was just like, "Well, don't not go on the rides just because you might be pregnant. We'll find out when we get home." So she went on everything. She went on Space Mountain, Splash Mountain. I hear her laughing behind me because I'm visiting her and my dad right now. And so all my first Disney rides were in the womb. So I blame that woman for my obsession.
Okay. Blame her or thank her?
Both.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Your wallet blames her.
Now she's got all these weird friends she's come in contact with too now.
Oh, yeah. But I love it.
All right, Michael, how about you?
So my Disney stories sound pretty funny. I had gone to Disney once when I was about 6 or 7 with my parents. It had rained the majority of the time. Probably went at a bad time. But so my parents still had tickets left over, which ties into the next part. Well, when I wanted to propose to Amy, I'm like, you know what? I got to do this at Disney World. So I actually proposed to her on my parents' tickets from when I went on that trip. They were the old paper tickets that never expired.
Yeah.
So I proposed to her in front of Cinderella's castle during the the nighttime parade.
The Electric Magic Parade.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's always been a fond memory, and now we go like 4 or 5 times a year. We've gotten to the point when I put in vacation time, my coworkers are like Disney again, and I'm like, I give the Phineas and Ferb response. Yes, I am.
Yes, I'm going to Disney again.
And you guys, didn't you buy DVC on your honeymoon?
Yes, we have. We bought DVC during our honeymoon, and we go back often as we can. Funny story, when we bought the DVC, it was during 2010 when the market was real bad. Mm-hmm. So we negotiated to get 3 rooms at Animal Kingdom from Christmas to New Year's if we got it, and we took half the family there and had a great time. So,
that's amazing.
That's wonderful.
Paid for itself in one trip. It was the best investment ever. Right.
Yeah, we've heard that. We just heard that recently from, we did a show with Ricky. He said the same thing. He said, yeah. If you're going to do something, buy it, and buy it as soon as you can.
Right. All right. Who's next, Dave?
All right, Jeremy, we want to hear your Disney story.
Well, apparently I was a late Disney bloomer. My first trip was in my 30s in
Okay.
2015. And it was with some friends of ours. She was actually going to a physician conference. We stayed off site. It rained the whole time. And I was just like, why? We're never coming back. And then obviously, Bridget living in Florida, they would go stay at the campgrounds and they had passes. And so her love for it kind of got me kind of sucked into it. So we try to go probably about once a year. And I think my favorite trip was probably, I think we went like 3 or 4 months after they reopened from COVID.
Uh-huh.
And it was so funny to be able to take pictures in front of the castle and absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody was there.
Pictures and nobody was there and you just rode whatever you wanted. And I think that was probably our favorite trip.
That's cool.
And you guys are coming back next month, so that's exciting.
Yes, indeed.
All right, Christina.
I grew up in Seattle, so everything was about Disneyland, but we were pretty poor growing up. We didn't travel at all. So I didn't go to Disneyland until my senior year of high school. It was a band trip. So I went with band kids, high school kids. I don't remember anything about that trip, nothing. And then we went after we got married and had kids. I refused to go to travel, really any traveling, with having to deal with diapers and naps. I wanted to wait until our youngest was 4. So we waited until our youngest was 4. And then we went to Disneyland. That was 2016 probably. Then we went again to Disneyland in 2018. Had great times. My husband loves Disney for all the reasons everybody loves Disney. He said he truly believes, and I do too, that it's just the happiest place on earth. Like it's just happy. So we went twice, and then COVID. And then I started listening to this thing called Geekin' on somewhere, Disneyland, something like that.
I've heard of it, yeah.
And then started listening to these Crusher people. And so at the end of COVID, we went May 21 to Disney World, and that was our first trip to Disney World.
Wow.
And our only trip to Disney World as a family, in fact. And then I've now been back a lot of times with the Crushers without my husband, and it's maybe caused a tiny bit of contention in our marriage, just a little bit. And
But
so the next trip, he must come with us. It will be a family trip next time.
Good.
So.
But I know you made a spreadsheet about why you should get to go to Disney.
It was a PowerPoint. And it was like 20 slides that explained why I should get to go to G3. And it included things like, you don't want to hang out with my Disney friends because you don't get the podcast, but I want to hang out with them. And so I had a whole spreadsheet. I had a whole slideshow. I gave it to him. And then he says, well, if you go to Disney World, I should be able to get a new computer. And I said, yep, you should. It's a deal. So that was the deal we made. He got a new computer and I got to go to Disney World for G3. Actually, it wasn't G3 because then G3 was postponed forever. So it ended up being TDC. Yeah.
Wow.
Good deal.
Good negotiating. See, I tried to do that when Veronica tried to get me to go to Disney. I said, for the money we're spending, I could get like a jet ski or a boat or something. And then we went, and then I was hooked. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad I didn't get that jet ski because I kind of like Disney.
Now all your money goes to Disney. All of it.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. All right. Let me go to the next question. And I'm going to start with Jeremy because I'm going to go with who's on my screen. What is your favorite Disney movie and why?
Before I answer that question, you can't knock the spreadsheets because I have one for this upcoming trip. So don't plan on the spreadsheets. But honestly, and this is going to sound weird. It's going to be my favorite Disney movie is Pinocchio. And the reason is because that is literally the first any memory that I have was sitting in that movie theater with my cousins and my aunt and watching Pinocchio at the movie theater in Ville Platte. Mm-hmm. And I was in so much trouble because whenever the whale was trying to eat him, I stood up on the chair and screamed, "Run, Pinocchio, run." So that wasn't the highlight of my mom's day, to say the least. But yeah, I think that was like my first real memory, and it just so happened to be a Disney movie. So I'd have to go with Pinocchio on that one.
Oh, what a great story.
Going back and watching that as an adult, Pinocchio, it's. I guess it would be scary to a kid. Like,
it's intense.
They turn into donkeys and they get eaten by a whale. And
yep. So, like 3-4 years old watching that, you're just like, get out of there,
man. All right, Michael, what is your favorite Disney movie and why?
I'm gonna go with Aladdin.
Okay.
That's one of the first VHS tapes, if y'all remember those, that my parents bought. And I swear we must have wore it out. I knew all the songs when I was about that age, and just a good memory. I'm going to go with Aladdin.
Okay, awesome. Who's next? Samantha Carpin.
That one was so easy for me. Beauty and the Beast.
Why?
I've always related to Belle, and she's always been my favorite princess my whole entire life. One time I saw her in Fantasyland, and I went against some Disney rules and sprinted across Fantasyland so I could go see Belle.
So you like to read like her? Is that why you identify like her with her? Or?
Yeah. Yes. I read voraciously. There's shelves upon shelves in my apartment, and there are at least 2 or 3 big storage totes in my parents' basement filled with books.
And does the whole town think you're weird?
Stop. Probably.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's more because I go to Disney so much than how much I read.
Okay. All right, hold on. And we have Christina.
My favorite, I had to think about it, but I'm going to go with Little Mermaid because I was 10 or 11 when it came out. And that just kicked off a series of these Disney greats, right? You had Little Mermaid and then Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast and Lion King. And it was just like this 10-year span.
That was it, yeah.
That was just like, for me, like the Disney pinnacle of greatness. It was so good, those movies back to back to back. So, but it started with Little Mermaid. Oh, and I was Little Mermaid in my 6th grade play. I was Ariel, and I got to almost kiss Brian Mangini, and I made his girlfriend really jealous, and it was really fun. So that was my 6th grade belting out part of your world.
That's
almost
great.
Because then Flotsam and Jetsam knocked us over. So.
Oh gosh.
But that's poor 6th grade drama. It was fun.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Let's hope you don't run into him at Disney sometime by accident.
Right? Maybe he's listening right now and he's like, wait, that's me.
Have you ever seen the documentary? It's on Disney Plus, I believe. It's called Waking Sleeping Beauty.
No.
You need to watch
I'm gonna
it.
watch it. Okay.
It's all about that era of Disney movies. It's about how Disney movies like in the 70s got really weird and nobody watched them, like the Black Cauldron and that'll really get Scott Daves mad at me because he loves that whole but and it's called Waking Sleeping Beauty, and it's about the revitalization of Disney that started with those movies. So
perfect. I'm going to do it.
It's good. It's a documentary. All right, Selena, I saved you for last because you were first for the last question. So.
Okay, so I am going to be basically a copycat because Little Mermaid is my favorite movie, but it's my favorite movie for a very similar reason from Jeremy. It's the first movie I remember seeing in the theater. I remember walking out of the theater and being so confused in my little brain because it was dark in the theater and then it was still daylight outside somehow, and my brain couldn't figure that one out. So that was like a core memory. But I loved the movie, obviously. I love the music, and it's just one that, as many other great movies as there are in the Disney collection and the Renaissance, it's like, that's the one. That's the one that kicked it off for me. Yep. That's the one that really sticks with me as the best.
Dave, I will tell you my Little Mermaid story at another time. Well, you'll have to bring it up on another show because I don't want to take time away from our guests. But I have my own Little Mermaid story.
Oh, that's that your favorite show too?
No, there's something else that happened when I went to see Little Mermaid in the theater, and I was a senior in high school. So, Selena, where is Selena? There, go ahead, get it out of your system because I heard you've been given a task.
Oh, I was going to save it, but I just want to say hi to my friend Andy Hoffman. He's very, very dear to my heart, so I just wanted to tell him hello.
There you go. He's dear to all of us. He threatened to call during this recording, and I said, "Don't you dare call." So that's why he messaged you to please say his name.
Oh,
Can you message him back and say that David's going to just edit that right out anyway? So
Okay.
All right. So
next question, Dave.
This question, and I'm going to start with Selena. And this question, I came up with this question because years ago when Flight of Passage first opened, I think the Diz Unplugged had a contest. I'm not sure if that was it or something
It was Disney that had the contest.
Was it Disney? Okay, it was Disney. Disney had a contest, and you got to stay the night in Flight of Passage. I don't know where in Flight of Passage and what you got to do, what you had to eat, but I just knew there was a contest, and oh man, I'd have been like, that would have been so cool. Here's our question, Selena. You have won a contest, and you get to spend the night in one of these places. Where are you sleeping and why? 1, Cinderella's Castle. Number 2, Hollywood Tower Hotel. 3, the Tree of Life. Or 4, in the World Showcase Pavilion of your choice.
Okay, so I'm going to feel very basic here, but it's Cinderella's Castle. Like, it's, to me, the only right answer. Like, it's got exactly everything you need. It's got a bathroom. It's got the nice bed. This is where I was going to throw Andy in and say, I don't know that it has a toddler bed for Andy, but it has everything else you could want. And then on top of that, Magic Kingdom is my favorite park. Cinderella is my second favorite movie. So like that would be the dream come true. And then most importantly, Mariah Carey has stayed there. So like for me, that is like, okay, I would be saying where Mariah has been.
All right. Let's go with now Christina's my next one because Samantha went away. Christina.
Okay, so I'm also going to go with the castle, kind of for the same reasons. One, none of the other ones really sounded that interesting to me. I tried to Hollywood Terror Night, no, never. Tree of Life, The pavilions, maybe the Norwegian pavilion, maybe, but the castle has a bed, and I'm getting older, so the comfort of having a bed as opposed to, I don't know where you would sleep in the pavilions, wins over anything else. Comfort.
Okay. Well, hypothetically, there's gonna be beds though in any of these places. They're gonna be somewhere.
You didn't tell us that. Oh, okay. I was picturing myself like on the Frozen boat, like sleeping on the boat as it goes through, just all through the night, which I guess could also be kind of intriguing.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'm not into scary stuff. I can't do the Tower of Terror. Hollywood, is that what, right? I can't do that.
Yeah, I got you. I'm with you on that one.
So, yeah, I know I'm pretty boring, but.
No, not at all.
That's
no.
Okay.
No. I had a feeling the castle was going to probably be at the top of the list. I had a feeling. I had that feeling. All right, Samantha, how about you? Where are you going to stay the night? And you might get a bed, and you might get something to eat. There's going to be a bathroom. I mean, I'm hoping.
I sure hope so, because I got to get up to pee at least 3 times a night. So this was actually probably the hardest question for me, because I have a running list in my head of places on Walt Disney World property that I would like to sleep in, many of which are in the World Showcase. But I settled on the America Pavilion because then the Voices of Liberty can then sing me to sleep.
Oh.
And then wake me up with singing. Wow. And then I can make my way to maybe the Le Hall Patisserie in France for breakfast.
Oh,
nice.
See? And you got that big, beautiful lake out there to look at. See? Good choice. Yeah. Good choice. I like it. All right, Michael.
Okay, so this one was a really hard one for me, but I'm going to have to go with the castle for 2 reasons. Their names are Amy and Lorelai. Okay.
Good choice. Good choice.
Now, me personally, if this was a solo trip that this magically happened on, I would totally do Tower of Terror. And I know it wasn't an option, but an alternative for me would be a Haunted Mansion.
I started to put that on the list, but I didn't because I
just think that would be fun. Something totally different.
Yep.
Fall asleep be the Ghost Coast, have a sit at the table and watch all the illusions. Yeah, I think that could be fun.
Yeah.
But, I have to go with the castle if Amy and Lorelai are with me.
Okay.
I'd never live it down if they weren't.
Right. Well, good choice. Good choice. Good choice. All right, Jeremy, where are you going to spend the night?
I think we would have to do the Mexico Pavilion.
Oh, cool.
Epcot is like one of those places that we kind of ride the rides and stay on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And we always want to go, oh, we're going to walk all the countries. And usually by like Norway, we're just like, yeah, let's go back. So I would want to sleep there. And I think it would be really cool to see all the pavilions at night and nobody there just to check them all out. But yeah, definitely. I think it would be Epcot just to actually walk the World Showcase like we say we do every trip. So
we got some good answers there. All right. We're already at the fourth question. I'm sad, Dave. It's almost over. If you were bringing your boss to Disney, what attraction or restaurant would you bring them to, hoping to impress them? Christina, let's start with you.
I thought about this quite a bit, and I would take them to Fantasmic. I saw it in April or something. No, February. I saw it in February for the first time, and it just blew me away. I mean, blew me away. I could not believe it. Had everything: the story, the fireworks, the music, the princesses, Ed and Mickey and Minnie. Like, it just was so amazing. And I sat there thinking, I cannot believe that all of this is happening because one man had a vision. You know, one man had a dream. Like, it just hit me so hard. And to me, that it just blew me away like nothing else has at Disney. And so if you want to include I don't know if you count it as an attraction, but we could do the dessert party or the dinner, whatever they have, because that would really impress the boss to be like, look, I can get us special seating at this wonderful show. So I'm going to take you out for these desserts. And then I'm going to get you preferred seating. You'll be treated like royalty. Aren't I such a great employee? So that's what I would do.
So if you went for the first time in February, your husband's never been?
No, we went as a family, but it was right after COVID, so there was no Fantasmic. So we didn't get to see it. It was still COVID.
So he's never been?
He's never been to Fantasmic. Yeah, I'm the only one in my family. No, I think Audra saw it because it was a band trip. I went with my oldest daughter on a band trip in February. And so she saw it then. But then for TDC, I went, but I was not with my kids, not with my family. And then G3, Hollywood Studios was the day we left. So I didn't get to see it then. So I've seen it twice. And only one of my daughters and myself have seen it. So it's kind of sad.
You'll get to bring him back and you'll impress him.
That's right. That's why my husband's like, next time you go, we're going as a family.
Cool. All right. Selena, where are you taking your boss to impress them?
I think that I thought about my boss very specifically. I don't know why, but I got stuck on like, okay, we're going to dinner because that's what I want to do with my boss. Let's get through a dinner. That's fine. But
you don't want to spend the day with them.
Sorry. I hope he never listens to this and feels offended, but we can have a nice dinner. And we're going to do that at Topolino's because it's my favorite hotel. It's the Riviera. And I have always had a good meal at Topolino's. I've had other meals where I feel like sometimes the food is a little more, Topolino's is always good, but like I've had other, like Chico, I love their food. But for me, the ambiance of Topolino's, the viewing of like the fireworks and just kind of that outdoor area, I think we could have a nice time where I could say like, hey, let's just get some drinks and I'll keep plying you with a few drinks and we'll chat up about how you could just pay me a little bit more. That'd be okay.
Absolutely.
But we'd have, like a nice view, a nice relaxing time. I think that's what my plan is.
I just realized, Dave, I have a regret because we took Veronica up there for the first time a few weeks ago and I didn't take her outside on the balcony to see the view. That would have been nice to show her, but.
Well, you know me, if I'd have been there.
They put the table that she was at was literally next to the kitchen. So she didn't see any of the view, I don't think. So that's a shame. I just realized that.
Well, we'll have to go back, I guess.
We had a window seat at my table, so. All right. Who's next, Dave? Who should we pick next? Let's pick Michael.
All right. So I took my specific boss in mind with this one.
Okay.
So the attraction would be Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
The age group and the soundtrack, and I think that would be fun. And then we finish off the day by drinking around the world, because why not drink and talk about our coworkers?
That's awesome. I love it.
It sounds like a good idea to me.
I think Guardians is a pretty impressive ride.
Oh, yeah. It's the best ride in Disney right now.
Where are we going next? Jeremy, are you there?
So my boss is one of those people that just kind of like carries the weight of the world on his shoulders. So I think that I would have to take a play, I believe, out of Travis's playbook and put him on Small World over and over until he decides to loosen up a little bit.
How dare you?
And then actually take him, park hop to Epcot, have a couple of drinks around the world, just kind of get him to relax a little bit. And, that's what I'd do with my boss.
If I took my boss on Small World over and over, I think I'd get fired.
Oh, just getting ready to say that. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Well, he could get off as soon as he wants. As soon as he cracks a smile, then he'll be able to get off, And I'm sure that song is on a Disney soundtrack CD somewhere that could go to the office if he...
You just play it at the office?
Just keep going on repeat.
Oh, goodness.
He's got a little evil in him, I think.
I like it.
All right, so it's Samantha.
So my boss, his parents were immigrants from China. So he's first generation here in the United States. So I would want to take him to the China Pavilion, come see Reflections of China, and take him to Nine Dragons to see, get his comparison of how authentic that pavilion is to Chinese culture.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I don't know how authentic Nine Dragons is to Chinese culture, but...
Oh, yeah, he would probably eat it and be like, this is nothing like my mother made when I was...
I'm sure not, but...
But I'm curious.
Yeah.
To hear from someone who grew up with a lot of that culture.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Reflections of China is an underrated pavilion. It's got... That movie is nice. The shop is full of, it's very eclectic. It goes from like really expensive, nice stuff to really cheesy, cheap stuff. Like if you have a kid, like a 5-year-old with like $2 in their wallet and they want to buy something, you could take them to that China store because there's something in there's like really cheesy knickknacks in there that you could get at a gas station probably.
I always felt like the way it's situated, the way it sits back like that, you kind of almost walk by it sometimes. You just unknowingly just kind of walk by. I don't know.
I was walking through that store once and I saw some people in there looking at some of the clothes and they said, oh, look at all this cultural appropriation.
Yeah. Well,
you're not wrong.
Yeah, but they're selling it. It's coming from that country. So, because that store is owned by a real department store there. So
here's our last question. Selena, if you could go back in time and give advice to your newbie self about touring Disney, what would your advice be?
Okay, so my newbie self would literally be 2-year-old or so. So I said, kind of thinking as it from going as an adult. So I went all through my lifetime, but when I started going like after college, I said, well, I'll do it the way that my parents did, which was we went for the day. We brought peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We kind of just like rode all the rides and then got out of there. So my newbie self as an adult doing the touring that I want to do, I'd say try the food, slow down and just like take your time and enjoy it. Because it took me a long time to realize that Disney has good food. Like I always just assumed it was expensive, like hot dogs, and they have the expensive hot dogs, but like everything else that you can get there and all the other places you can go, that's what I kind of missed out on for a long time until I finally realized that was an option. And then I don't ride rides anymore. I just kind of go and I ride 1 or 2 rides and I just kind of take my time and do what I want to do, as opposed to like the army march. Like we used to just go in and be like, nope, we're hitting this, we're doing this, we're going there. And like, no, you can take your time, you can enjoy it. You have, I'm blessed that I have an annual pass and I can just take my time doing things that I want to do and go do the other stuff another time.
Right. Well, you've been going since you were 2 years old, so I'm sure you've done everything at Disney by now, right?
Everything except for Tower of Terror. Never rode it, never will.
See? Well,
there's always something, right?
Oh, I can't believe that. You've never rode Tower of Terror. I don't want to ride Tower of Terror, but I've done it because my daughter loves it, and she forces me on it. And every time I get off, I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I do that?
Yeah, can I just tell you the story? So for G3, I was planning the quest with Veronica and Wendy, and we were talking about the Tower of Terror, and I said, my sister wants to play this year, Jackie, and she is going to kill me but let's put on, if you ride Tower of Terror, you get extra points. So she's just as afraid as I am. She had never been on it, and she rode it for the Quest for Greek and Glory on G3.
Wow.
And she texted me the whole time in the ride, in the line. She's like, I hate you. I cannot believe you did this. Why do you hate me? But she did it. So
she did.
There's a chance that she's going to figure out a way to bully me onto this ride.
So she won't ride it again now that she's ridden it once?
I think she would, but I don't think she's in any rush to ride it again.
Well, you should try to do what she did, and you just should try it one time, and you might want to ride it again, see?
Maybe.
All right, who's next, Dave?
All right, on my screen, I've got Christina. Christina, your newbie self. You're telling your newbie self some advice about going to Disney.
So there's a couple of things. One, the first thing would be never get those motion sickness patches that go behind your ears because they're awful. I think they're of the devil. That's what I've decided. Because for 75% of the people I found out after the fact, they work great. But for 25% of the people, they make you really super nauseous and they mess up your vestibular something. And it's really, really bad. And I'm part of that 25% of the people. So I was wearing them. And by like day 3, I couldn't see. Like everything was really blurry. I'd look at a map and it was just blurry. So I took them off. And then we went on Expedition Everest. And I got so motion sickness. I had to go lie in the first aid station for like 4 hours. It was so bad. It was awful. And it messed me up for like a week afterwards. So I should never have gotten them. I thought I was going to be smart and proactive and I won't get motion sick. And I've got these great ear patches. They're wonderful. And they are of the devil. I have decided. So
if you are going to do them, I would say try them before you go on your vacation.
Yeah.
To see if you have that side effect.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. But besides that, I would say try to go more often rather than less. And I know that sounds really weird, but we homeschooled for 8 years. And during that time, we could have gone to Disney anytime we wanted, right? We were homeschooling and we could have gone on the off-peak times and we could have done all these great trips. But, money is always a factor and we're in Colorado. It's not easy to get there. But we had friends who said, well, one year we bought annual passes for Disneyland, and whenever there were cheap flights to Anaheim, we would just hop on a plane and go. So if there were $50 round trip flights, we would just go for the weekend. And we did that for 1 year, and it was so wonderful. And Ben and I looked at each other and said, you are in a different tax bracket than we are. That's a lot of money. But looking back, I wish we had done that or done solo trips with each kid. Because when I mentioned this on the Facebook page, I went to G3 in September with just my 11-year-old, just the two of us went. And it was awesome. It was so great just to have that one-on-one time. And 11 is such a sweet age and it's perfect. And she'll remember it the rest of her life. I'll remember it forever. And it was just this really sweet time that I wish I had with the other two. So I would say go more often and do the solo trips. Like be willing to spend the money if you can. I mean, don't go into debt, obviously, but if you could do it, just do it.
Good advice.
Yeah. I had a tradition with my boys when they were younger that for their birthdays, I would take just that kid. I would just take the one. And now Dominic's 20 and he's over it, but Michael still wants to go. He's already planning his January trip. So
Yeah. And like you guys have said before, the more often you go, you don't have to be so militant. So I am very militant. I've got my touring plan. I've got my thing and we're going. And I would not change that. That's great for how I am.
It works for you.
But the more that you go, you can start to slow down because you're not going to miss anything. Because if you miss it this time, you'll just catch it next time and it's not a big deal. So it's just, It all comes down to finances and where you live and all of that. But if you can do it, just do it.
I like that, Tony Ann. Go more often. I like it.
That's good. I'll tell Rich that Christina said so.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's right.
All right.
Okay, Michael.
Who's next, Dave?
Michael, your newbie self needs some advice about going to Disney. And you're the man to give it to him.
I'd tell them to slow down and enjoy it. If the park's busy, enjoy the ambience, do something different. You don't have to rush it. You're gonna be back.
Seems like that's the number one advice to some of these newbies is to slow down a little bit And we've kind of said the same thing too. Just kind of take it slow down, and you'll get there. If you don't get something, you'll have a chance to get it again. All right, Jeremy.
Say hello to Lorelai, Dave.
Hey, Lorelai.
She's in her dad's ears. We're gonna get a Lorelai.
Hey, Lorelai.
Hi, Lorelai.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good.
Lorelai, what's your favorite Disney movie?
Descendants.
Oh, you like Descendants?
Yeah, and High School Musical.
Oh, that's awesome. We're all in this together.
What newbie advice would you give your newbie self? She's like, what?
Tell Dad to give me his wallet.
Say, Dad, let's go to Disney tomorrow.
I think she better give her dad back the headphones. All right, Lorelai, we've got to ask some other people the question. All right. Thank you for talking to us, though.
Okay.
Bye.
We love you. Bye.
Can't wait to see you again.
Who's next, Dave?
Jeremy. Okay, right, Jeremy, give your newbie self some advice about going to Disney.
Well, I've heard it a few times already, but going whenever you're in your 30s, it's like, for the first time, it was just like rip and run from 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
Shower and do it all over again. So definitely slow down and just take it in. And that's what I'm actually excited about our upcoming trip for, is that we're going to be there for a week, but we're doing 3 park days there, and then we're doing a day at Legoland. So we're planning on like just go and check everything out, hit the monorail, go find gingerbread houses, maybe even complete the Christmas tree scavenger hunt at Disney Springs, and just slow down, because a lot of people are so focused on those rides that they just completely forget that there's so many other things there, and just slow it down.
Yeah, there's so much
stuff to do. Yeah,
there's so much stuff to do in between all the other stuff, and that we just missed for years.
Yeah, one of my life goals, like who really stops and actually looks at the windows on Main Street?
Right, exactly.
Because you're running down there trying to hit a ride, and that's what I want to do this trip. Just kind of take it slow and just actually enjoy it.
Okay.
That'll be nice.
Awesome. Samantha, you're kind of like Selena. You've been around since, even before Selena. Selena was 2 and you're in the womb. So I don't know if you can give yourself any advice, but if you could, what would it be?
Buckle up, because you better be frugal everywhere else in your life, because you're going to spend all your money at Disney, girl. But if I wanted to kind of give advice to my newbie adult self, it would be just walking around, and the ambience is just as good, if not better, than riding the rides.
I love that.
And I guess we have, we're lucky. A lot of us are lucky enough that we have the annual pass, so we can have that mindset of like, oh, if I don't even go on a ride, I'm pleased as a pig in mud. I didn't want to get turkeyed. But anyway, I find that some of my best moments in the parks is just when maybe I've ridden 1 or 2 rides and I just spend the whole day just walking around.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've gone to Disney before and come home and said, do you realize we didn't even do a ride? Not even one ride. Yeah. And it just surprises ourselves, because that's the way we used to be, is we had to get the rides, every ride, just try and get everything we can in. And now we just walk around like you, Samantha, and just take in the ambience and the music. Sometimes we'll just sit on a park bench or go somewhere and have a drink and just relax and watch everybody and do the things that now our thing is that we try to do things that we haven't done before. We try to at least do one thing that we've never done before, whether it's a store, whether it's a ride, or it could be a attraction, whatever it is. Just try to do one thing we've never done before. And people say, well, you go so much, you have to have done everything. Nope. There's still things we haven't done. Places we haven't seen, haven't been to the Riviera, haven't been to Topolino's. I can tell you, tons of restaurants we haven't been to, resorts we haven't been to. Slow down and take it in. Sounds great.
All right. All right, Dave.
Thank you, guys. That was great. I love hearing the stories. I love hearing the advice. And I love hearing everybody's answers to the questions.
Thank you for bringing us together. Like, for so many of us, Disney is just a happy place. And if we're not there in person, it's nice just to be thinking Disney, talking Disney, and just brings happiness. So thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Dave, do you have anything you want to say on the way out?
No, just thank you. So I guess anything else, Tanya?
I don't think so. No? Selena, Christina, Michael, Jeremy, Samantha, thank you so much for agreeing to come on tonight. I know it was kind of last minute and I was a little crazy, but I appreciate you putting up with us. And do any of you have a side hustle you want to push? Because I always let people push their side hustle at the end of the show. No side hustles? Nobody?
I have no hustle.
Samantha?
Michael, you want to sell me a house?
Sure, absolutely. Okay. Come on down to Mobile.
If you're interested in a house in the Mobile, Alabama market, Michael's your man. Other than that, thank you so much, everybody. And we will see you next time on the Disney Crush Podcast.